First, well, there were warning signs and reasons to be worried. Something went wrong with our spaceship. The engines had malfunctioned, resulting in a quick and aggressive loss of fuel. The system was acting up, and the repairs had to be done by hand. But the fuel wasn't being carelessly dropped into space. It was pooling around the flawed engines, heating up, and eventually exploding right in the face of our two onboard mechanics. The pain of the loss was equal to the terror of what was about to happen. Half the ship was on fire. I was the pilot. This tragic mission was in my hands, and I had to get my co-pilot back home safely. It was the least I could do. The adrenaline was rushing through my body. My heart was breaking. The alarms were threatening to split my skull in half, and my co-pilot was crying on the other seat. "Ashley, I don't want to die," she yelled. "Ashley, do something. Oh my God, they're dead. They're really dead. Ashley, we're going to die. Please do something, please." I was trying my hardest. I was shaking all over, and her words were going to drive me insane, because I knew she was right. This was hell. The whole thing was going to catch fire, and we would die an extremely painful death. I looked at our radar signals, desperately wishing for a miracle to come true. But there was nothing. We were alone in this cold and unforgiving corner of space. Or so we thought. The system had already failed me once today. I had no reason to rely on it, and my eyes couldn't lie. There was a planet right there. I was seeing it myself. It wasn't a mirage. It was a miracle. If there was any chance to make it out of this burning mess alive, this was it. I cleared my throat and announced the bad news. "Patricia, get fucking ready and work with me here. We are going to perform an emergency landing on that planet ahead of us. This is life or death, okay? We'll unlatch our part of the ship and go on with the auxiliary engine. I'll get us through this, you understand? Get ready in 3, 2, 1. We pulled on our controls in perfect sync. The alarms blaring all over the ship doubled. The fire expanded. Our odds worsened. And we started to scream as if our skeletons were being ripped out of our bodies by the sudden tension inside our cabin. And then I couldn't breathe. I was seeing planet Earth right in front of me. It had been a fucking mirage all along. The blue waters, the mountains, the deserts, and the lush jungle coming closer and closer until the pressure of gravity drawing us in was enough to knock me out unconscious. I thought I was dead. I was so sure I had died. But, God, death isn't supposed to hurt this much, is it? My head is experiencing unimaginable pain. There's an awful pressure on my chest, and my lungs are on fire. Everything is painful, and I start to wish I was dying. But no. There's this incessant ringing in my ears that refuses to let me slip back into unconsciousness to never come up again. After another moment, It finally registers in my brain that what I'm hearing is an emergency alarm. It doesn't come from the ship anymore, but from inside my suit. I'm running out of oxygen. This sparks my flight or fight response. My body jerks fully into wakefulness and I snap up to a sitting position, gasping for a lungful of air, and end up choking on my own breath. There's something wrong. My throat burns, but the smell. This isn't oxygen coming from my suit. When my eyes finally adapt to the light, I become aware of a few things. 1, my helmet broke and I'm exposed to the air around me. 2, the air isn't killing me. There's perfectly good air for me to breathe wherever I am. And 3, everything around me is an unexplainable disaster. Just like my helmet, the front glass of the pilot's cabin is broken. But I can barely believe my eyes. The thing that broke the glass is a very tall tree that looks exactly like something out of planet Earth, but apparently 1,000 times stronger. Okay, this can't be happening. We were years away from Earth, but whatever this planet is, it's not my main concern at the moment. Patricia, my co-pilot, where the hell is she? I look around me desperately with my fears growing with every passing second. Oh God, but the moment I find her, I wish I hadn't. No, but Patricia? Oh God, this can't be real. Oh, this can't be happening. She was always so full of life. She was one of the best people I have ever met. This limp and lifeless body, this can't be hers. But, oh God, it is. No. She's right there, on the floor of the cabin, lying in a puddle of her own blood. I can't tell what killed her. The impact, the crash, her head hitting the floor and cracking open, or maybe the tree's branch impaled her through the heart first. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, all of my physical pain fades into the background of this. Oh, this grief. My hands are shaking and I can't stop the tears from coming, but underneath this pain, there's a current of burning self-hatred. I failed. My mission was a disaster. The ship collapsed. I failed every member of my crew. My friends are dead. And I am all alone on this unexplainable planet. Why didn't it show up on our radars? Why didn't I even know it existed? I need someone to blame, and this planet will know all of my rage. Although my legs are shaking and I am most definitely not thinking clearly, I get out of the pilot's cabin and find one of the exit gates of what is left of the ship. It was surprisingly easy to open, considering it's half destroyed anyway. I stumble outside, shielding my eyes from the sudden light outside. I rack my brain looking for a possible source that could illuminate the planet this much. But I suspect some of it is a reaction to something in the atmosphere. I yank my helmet off my head and finally focus on the world around me. I can't believe it. This is nearly identical to a lush countryside on Earth. I could even remember hiking in similar places back home. The big pine trees, the green grass, a hill up ahead, even some kinds of insects flying around in the nearby distance. A small explosion distracts me, and I turn to look at half of the ship, abandoned half a mile behind me. It's burning like a fire straight from hell. Just as I'm starting to wonder if there's anything salvageable, fuck! What is this? A sharp pain looms on my right leg, and I twist and turn, wincing and screaming. I look down, and there's an animal latched onto my leg. Oh, fuck. This is bad. This is so bad. Ow! Fuck. Whatever this is, it has teeth like blades piercing through my suit. God, my skin and my muscles. God, fuck, let me go! I yell, shaking my leg to the best of my ability. I look around, desperate, alone, at the very least hoping for a weapon, but I lose my balance. A terrible shriek comes out of the little extraterrestrial beast as we both tumble down heavily to the ground. Despite the pain, this does the trick. That small monstrosity lets go of my leg. I close my eyes and, curl up in a ball. Oh, this is a fucking nightmare. This is fear unlike anyone else has known. I'm completely alone on a strange planet. My crew is dead, my ship is destroyed, and an alien just tried to chew through my leg. I'm shaking, and my tears run faster now. After a minute, my breathing starts to slow down. After another minute, I take the risk of moving my arms off my head and taking a look around. Whatever that animal was, it's gone now. I sit on the miraculously soft grass to assess the damage. The creature resembled some kind of large rat, maybe a monkey, judging by the way it clung to my leg, but I am confident nothing on Earth is like it. There's a tear in the leg of the suit. There's blood oozing out of my wound. There's no doubt that I'm exposed and vulnerable. I have to return to my ship and figure out the next step in this hellish scenario. I can't believe this is actually happening. I try to look for the confidence of leadership instincts that got me the role of the pilot during training. But there's nothing. I'm hollowed out and broken. My heart is burnt, and my mind is crumbling down. Yeah, I am definitely a reflection of my ship. The moment I step back inside, the whole thing rattles around me, and I hear something crash down to the floor nearby. I get goosebumps thinking about the worst. Is it just the ship falling to pieces after that hard landing? Could it be something else? Is there another violent and indestructible beast lurking in these hallways close to me? Just hovering out of sight, slithering through the shadows, observing me with hungry eyes, and getting its fangs ready to strike me down. Come out, I call them out. Come out! Come out and end me now! My life is doomed and I know it. But nothing comes. And the silence is almost as terrifying. I can't, or don't, want to do much more than hastily tie a bandage around the wound on my leg. I'm limping, and I realize with a start that I would be easy prey for any sort of animal. But what is there to fight for? The only thing I can attempt is to send a distress signal out to space and collect as much data on the planet as possible. Maybe some ship will catch my signal. Maybe a rescue mission will find my crashed ship and the dead bodies of me and my crew. If I can compile enough information about this planet, then my research could let the rest of humanity know if we found a second home, or if nobody else should ever set foot on this planet. I don't care if I live or not. But this has to be the last thing I do if I'm going to die. Sending the distress signal is easy enough, or at least it should be. It's just a quick stop on the pilot's cabin, a couple of buttons, and praying it'll reach far enough for any other ship or space station to catch it. There are only two problems. One, the body of my loved co-pilot is still lying there cold and lifeless, waiting for me. Two, I decided to take the option to add a personal message along with the signal. At first, I fear I won't find the right words, and I'll choke on my fear and my grief. However, after the agonizing loneliness I felt since crashing on the surface of this planet, the chance to talk and share the heavy weight of the horrors I've seen, well, I let it all out. This is Ashley Mitchell, pilot of the Demios space vessel, sending out an emergency call. My ship experienced a grave malfunction, which resulted in the death of 2 members of the crew and a fire in the rear of the ship. My co-pilot and I performed an emergency landing on the nearest planet, but it wasn't a success. I'm the sole survivor of the mission. The planet is an unknown case. It wasn't picked up by our radars, and it presents Earth-like qualities. I repeat, the planet heavily resembles planet Earth. I will carry out the necessary tests to professionally evaluate the planet and leave the results for the benefit of the rest of humanity, but God, please send help. Please get me out of here. Jesus Christ, I can't explain how awful it is. They're all dead, and it wasn't easy or kind. It was cruel and vicious. Their lives were ripped away by a tragedy, and I'm here alone. Here carrying the burden. I'm in a nightmare. I don't know what the results will say, but this planet is a nightmare. It's Earth, but it isn't. It's hungry and dangerous and can't be trusted. I was attacked already, and if I'm lucky, I'll bleed out before something worse happens. End of the distress signal. So, in the end, I'm shaking in front of the controls and regretting half of my words. But they're all I have. There's no one here to talk things with. There's just me. And the last thing I can offer humanity. Answers. I make my way to the lab, which thankfully is close to the pilot's cabin. And this half of the ship is badly shaken, but at least safe from the fire. The small room is equipped with the best computers that technology can offer. But at the moment, I just need something simple. I thank the practicality of the system and grab a suitcase with everything I need. Then I step out of my damaged ship again. I open the suitcase on the ground and a few steps away from the ship. The tests I have to run are very simple and don't even require a lot of work on my part. There's only a few questions I'm supposed to answer. Is this planet lethal for human beings? Yes or no? Is the atmosphere appropriate? Can we breathe this air? Is the ground fertile? Is there fresh water present? I could be breathing easily right now, but unbeknownst to me, this air could be poisoning my lungs and destroying my body from the inside out with each passing second I spend here. Good. Let this hell consume me like it took my crew away from me. From the suitcase, I prepare and activate 2 devices that I stick securely on the soil at my feet. The shorter one will analyze the ground of the planet, and the tall, standing one, about half my height, will study the quality of the air. There's only 1 step left, and I consider giving up before starting, but according to the remaining device, there really is a source of water nearby. And guilt and responsibility fill me up to convince me to walk all the way there to run the last test necessary. The ship crashed in a clearing of a green area that looked like a jungle. It made me think of the Amazon rainforest, actually, which meant that one of these great trees took the life of my co-pilot. But it also means there is a river nearby. I start walking west, and before 5 minutes, I'm able to hear the murmur of the water flowing wildly. My leg is throbbing in the place where the alien animal bit me, but other than the limping a little, I managed to walk all the way to the river. If I wasn't scared out of my mind and carrying a lot of grief with me, I would have thought the place was beautiful, if a little unsettling. It's familiar but strange. It looks like a spot from Earth, but just wrong enough to make me feel unsafe. The wood of the tree trunks is the wrong shade of brown. The water moves oddly slow, and it isn't crystal clear. It's nearly a solid blue color, yet very loud. I look around in search of a wild animal I should be aware of, but find nothing too concerning. Still, I prefer not to dip my hand in those sluggish waters. Thankfully for me, the device comes with a small hose, about 2 meters long, that I can unlatch from the device, throw at the water, and wait for the system to run the test. It's quite simple. I walk as close to the river as possible, get the hose ready, and I throw it at the water like a rope. The consequences are immediate. The water tugs at the hose so fiercely that it yanks the device straight from my hands. It clatters to the ground, and I don't have time to consider picking it up before the depths of the water give it another tug and absorb the device entirely. I gasped loudly. If I had hesitated, if I held the device a little tighter, then that mysterious force would have dragged me down in the blink of an eye. What the hell is this? It's like half a dozen men were hiding under the surface of the water. They using all their force to drag into the water anything that comes too close. I was definitely too close. Before I start running away, there's a splash. I can barely believe my eyes, as if it were a fish jumping out of the surface. The water defies my sense of gravity and the laws of physics I'm aware of, and sends a splash out of the river and onto the muddy earth on the side. It falls heavily. This isn't water at all. This is a gooey, bluish substance that splatters on the ground like gelatin. It happens again and again. I become acutely aware that it's coming closer and closer. It's coming for me. I start running, but the river becomes faster. I feel a splash land on my leg, and the impact throws me off balance. It looks like a dead jellyfish stuck to my leg. But I don't feel pain or a pull to the river yet. So I ignore the next splashes that land on my thighs, and I drag my body through the mud. I am heaving by the time I reach the clearing again, and I pull myself to my feet. It takes me a few attempts because the ground is so slippery. I don't get it at first, but then I realize it wasn't like this when I last passed this area. Something has changed. Oh God, my mind is a mess, and it takes me a while to make sense of it. Did it rain while I was by the river? Why is the ground so muddy now? My eyes skim the area ahead of me until they land on the devices I left running. Or at least one of them. I can't see the shorter one. It must have sunk in the mud. I have a bad feeling about this. But I mean, I'm literally on a planet I know nothing about. I have literally nothing to compare this situation to. I have no way to know how bad this is. The only thing I can do is limp my way over to the device still stuck on the ground. The remaining device barely reaches my knee, so it sank about halfway through. This is concerning. My only relief is seeing the result displayed on the little screen. The air here is completely safe for humans. That is slightly shocking, but definitely welcomed good news. Although they're aggressively overshadowed by what happened next. First, a horrible sound. A deafening thunder coming from far underneath me. Then, a huge tremor on the ground. I thought it was an earthquake. And I thought my luck was bad enough to have crashed on a planet right during an earthquake. But no, that isn't exactly it. The mud at my feet rumbles and shakes, not like a rock splitting in half, but like the waves of the ocean during a storm. Everything turns unsteady, and from the mud comes a fetid smell that makes me gag. The still shaking ground makes me lose my balance, and I fall down to my knees. Then, I watch in horror as my hands disappear into the mud below me. I scream and yank them back quickly. I don't have time to notice the way my knees are also sinking. My attention is stolen by a new sound. It's the sound of metal being crushed under great pressure. My spaceship is getting dragged underground by an invisible force. Seeing an entire spaceship sinking down slowly into muddy soil is a staggering sight. There's no power, no strength, nothing that human resources can do to defy these horrifying forces in action on this planet. All my senses tell me to do one thing and one thing only. Run. Run away now. I completely ignore every rational part of my brain and drag myself up with every intention of making my way back inside my ship. Patricia! I yell at the top of my lungs as if her corpse could still hear me, as if my co-pilot could come back from the dead and reach out to me and get me out of this deadly trap. Patricia! I yell again, pushing through the rapidly rising mud. The last thing I deserve is to die by her side. To die by my ship. To sink and drown in the ship that I crashed. But fate and justice abandoned me the second I landed on this godforsaken planet. In an instant, moving becomes too hard. But I'm not just stuck. Something latched onto my leg. I try to push through, but it's hopeless. So I finally look down, and my brain barely comprehends what I see. No, this can't be happening. Let me go. Is this a vine? It looks like some sort of climbing planet rising from the mud and wrapping around my leg. Oh, what the fuck? No! I grunt with effort, but when I try to pull my leg away, I only end up falling on the mud. And I immediately start to feel sick. No, fuck this. This is too much. Let me go. Patricia? Anyone? Fuck! Now what? When I manage to pull myself up to my feet again, I scream at the sight of my hands. Ah! When I touch the mud, about a dozen insects took the opportunity to climb on top of me. Holy shit, they're like giant beetles so big that, I could feel the weight dragging me down. Get away from me! I shake my arms wildly, lose my balance again, and when I fall, I realize with a terrible shock that I can no longer feel my legs. Oh, Jesus Christ. This is the end for me, isn't it? The bugs don't wait for my death to start biting. They tear through my suit. They sneak in. And they burrow themselves in my skin. The pain makes a scream explode out of me. And even that small release is taken from me. The vines snap out of the mud again and wrap around my head, covering my mouth and making me gag. I shake and struggle to breathe. I don't know what is crushing my lungs, if the pressure of the mud, the vines, or the bugs eating me alive. I can't scream. I can't move. The mud is up to my chest now. Even though I can't move my limbs, I still feel the hungry bugs taking out one bite at a time, with the vines tightly wrapped around my head and my neck. I can't breathe anymore. I barely feel my tears slide down my cheeks as the mud reaches my chin. All I can do is stare at my spaceship, shattered and crumbled, and sinking down even faster than I am. It was all a disaster. I didn't even leave the tests behind. What is this abominable planet?